हेलो एवरीवन, वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून। बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आप सभी का ऑन आवर मे 10 न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस। वेरी वार्म वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू एंड आई होप कि आप सब ने कल अपना क्लैट का रजिस्ट्रेशन कंप्लीट कर लिया है। नाउ द सील इज सेट। अब सिर्फ और सिर्फ एग्ज़ाम की तरफ ध्यान देना है। 40 days टू गो बिफोर आवर एग्जामिनेशन एंड दैट मार्क्स now that the number of aspirants who you all will be competing with is set in stone. Now all your focus should be on the preparation. There cannot be any ifs and buts about our preparation. It is only about what we have to do in the examination. अब कुछ भी और relevant नहीं करता है, कुछ भी और matter नहीं करता है। Students जो CBSE का exam दे रहे हैं उनके लिए भी ये बात important है कि देखो, आपके बोर्ड के एग्ज़ाम्स या बोर्ड के स्कोर्स विल नॉट इन्फ्लुएंस योर क्लैट स्कोर्स एट ऑल। आप एंड इफ़ यू आर अ कैंडिडेट हु इज़ अपियरिंग फॉर CUET या किसी भी सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी में, अब आपके बोर्ड के एग्ज़ाम सिर्फ और सिर्फ आर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ यू क्लियरिंग द स्कूल लेवल एग्जामिनेशंस। देयर इज़ नो मेरिट, देयर इज़ नो सच थिंग एज यू हैव टू टॉप इन द एग्जामिनेशन। उस तरीके का कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है। सो अब आपका फोकस सिर्फ और सिर्फ अपने कंपेटिटिव एग्जाम पे होना चाहिए, वहीं पे ध्यान रहना चाहिए। ओके, सो विद दैट नोट लेट्स बिगिन आवर टुडेज न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस। वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल द व्यूअर्स अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड। हेलो इप्शिता, हेलो सेजल, हाय नंदिनी, जानवी, पूजा, चांदनी, सयान। वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू who have tuned in live. And if you are someone who is watching me for the very first time, I'm Kushagra Goyal, a graduate from National Law University, a Masters in Economics. I've assisted students to achieve AIR 4, AIR 16 and CLAT 21. But up I want this to change. I want for CLAT 2022 aspirants, there should be others who are there and lot many more among the 100 plus students who have cleared CLAT by getting tuitions under me. And I hope कि all of you have been watching the revision series, because I'm guaranteeing you once again that most of the GK section will come from my revision series only. On that note, if you are someone who has not yet accessed the notes, you can access them through the link bit.ly/KUSAGK notes, या आप Unacademy की community tab पर भी उन्हें access कर सकते हैं। And if you want to reach out to me, तो आप मेरे टेलीग्राम चैनल that is Kushagra Goyal the legal game _Unacad पर मुझे reach out कर सकते हैं। You can also message me, put in your doubts there, whatever you want. If you have any suggestions about any particular examination, we can take up that too. On that note, आज 1:10 पे we will be resuming our daily current affair quiz which we had not done last week. So आज we will be resuming with the quiz. So I hope all of you will be there at 1:10 PM to watch the quiz. This will be on the Learners app of Unacademy. All you need is the code KUSHGK to access it. मैं इसका लिंक टेलीग्राम चैनल पर भी इस वीडियो के ख़त्म होने के बाद भेजूंगा। सो अगर आप कोई स्टूडेंट है जिन्होंने अभी तक अपनी करंट अफेयर्स रिवाइज नहीं करी है, द क्विज इज़ एग्जैक्टली द बेस्ट वे टू डू दैट and you can access it for totally free of cost using the code KUSHGK. So link is in description. आप इसके लिए enroll अभी से कर सकते हैं। So on that note शुरू करते हैं newspaper analysis. So big news coming in from Sri Lanka. What you can say, the gloves are off in terms of protests in Sri Lanka. Amid rising violence, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka has quit. His brother is still the president. The resignation has been accepted. Cabinet has been dissolved. 3 people have also died. Most of the member of parliament, Prime Minister का घर, बहुत सारे MPs के घर जला दिए गए हैं. So there is a huge what you can say, a literal burning that is happening in Sri Lanka. The economic crisis has come to pass there. People are frustrated and with that is the situation. So for us to note down, आज के न्यूज़पेपर में जो नोट करना है वो है श्रीलंका के प्राइम मिनिस्टर who has quit, महिंदा राजपक्षा. His brother is still the president, that is Gotabaya Rajapaksa is still the president. There have been reports of people also dying in the protest, but now we will have to see how the situation is. The IMF has not yet approved the bailout package for Sri Lanka. That is still pending. So the situation has now become desperate in Sri Lanka. The people were on their toes. The protests had been happening. An emergency has also been imposed, and yet the protests were not abating, and the government has now conceded. It has accepted that it cannot do anything about it. The Rajapakshas, who have been controlling Sri Lanka with an iron grip for the past 4 years, have led to this disastrous economic scenario in Sri Lanka, and so he has quit, but the brother remains the president. We need to see how it will be. Will there be new elections? Though elections on their own may not change a lot of situation, all of it depends on the IMF bailout package and foreign assistance for Sri Lanka at the moment. On that note, others who have also tuned in, very good morning to all of you. Hi Siddharth, Shivi, Akanksha, Akhil, Purvi, very good morning to all of you. So in that regard, इस news के अंदर the only thing you have to note down is the name, okay? Then we move on the right hand side. Two news from India. The economic scenario in India is also not very positive, and our Indian currency has hit the lowest it has ever in its history against the US dollar. That is 77.4 against the US dollar. US के अंदर because of tightening of the economy in US, interest rates have been hiked, and more people are, the demand for US dollar has increased. More and more people want to invest in the US economy, और इस वजह से there has been a humongous sell-off of the Indian rupee. The demand for Indian rupee has fallen through the roof, and it is now at its lowest it has ever been in the history of the country. But what is the effect of the rupee? So up, first things first, हमें क्या note करना है? In case before I move on to that, if you have any queries about Unacademy subscriptions, you can always call us at 7825860506 or use the code KUSHGK. So what do we have to understand first? Foreign exchange or foreign currencies, okay? Have a floating rate of exchange. A floating मतलब it depends on demand and supply. ठीक है? Now why has the rupee fallen so much? Okay, the first is that the US Federal Reserve also hiked interest rates. ठीक है, उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ है? Demand for US dollar has increased. The second reason is okay. Now there are two things that have happened simultaneously. One, because of supply side risk, that India's growth projection has been reduced. Earlier it was expected that we will grow by 10%, now it is expected we will grow by 8%, but because of further intensification of war, it is believed that may also not come to true. So the demand for Indian rupee has fallen. अब India की economy grow नहीं करेगी, तो इस वजह से there is less incentive for investors to invest in India. वो अपना पैसा इंडिया से बाहर निकालना चाहते हैं. So Indian rupee की demand कम हो गई है. Demand for US dollar has increased. So because of this, the overall इफेक्ट इज दैट द इंडियन रुपी वैल्यू हैज फॉलन. हमारी डिमांड कम हो गई है, उनकी डिमांड इंक्रीज हो गई है, तो हमारी वैल्यू उनके कंपैरिजन में कम हो गई है. व्हाट इज द इफेक्ट ऑफ इट? नाउ द इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस इज import become expensive, gold, oil, things that we import in bulk will become expensive, and exports can become cheap. Okay, they may become cheap if there is support. Okay, और export subsidies apply करी जाती है या export support policies the government implements. So these are the effects that will happen in this regard. All right. Then in terms of your messages, doubts, first is very good afternoon to you also, Ratnesh. Then Arushi's your question. You have not been able to watch newspaper analysis for previous days due to boards. Should you see the previous 7-8 days, or is there any other alternative? You can see the revision series for the month of May to cover up. Okay. And then your questions about constitution classes, we will do that very soon. Do not worry about it. So coming back on the news. Okay, so this is the effect that we have to note down. We will also be doing something on the economic page. So we'll cover that part also. Then we move on the right hand side. Supreme Court has been hearing the petition against sedition law, which is section 124A of the IPC. ठीक है, अब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि वी विल रिव्यू इट. ओके, दैट एज पर इन लाइन ऑफ द इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस वी आर फुल्ली कॉग्निसेंट एंड वी विल टेक अ कंसिडर्ड व्यू ऑफ दीज कंसर्न्स एंड टेक अ रिव्यू ऑफ द सेक्शन. हम इस सेक्शन को रिव्यू करेंगे कॉम्पिटेंट टाइम पीरियड पर, तो आप हमें समय दीजिए बिफोर यू एक्चुअली रिवोक इट. सो दिस इज द गवर्नमेंट हैज सॉट टाइम to relax and reconsider, re-examine and reconsider the sedition law. Sedition is very important for all of you. There are 3 major judgments to be noted down in this. ठीक है, there are 2 Indian cases, which is Kedarnath versus state of Bihar, then is the Vinod Dua versus state of Uttarakhand, and last is the US case of Brandenburg versus Ohio. Okay, Kedarnath is the basic law. Vinod Dua के अंदर कोर्ट ने कहा था कि there is a requirement for review. Journalists have a right of protection against Article 19. Sedition उनके खिलाफ नहीं फाइल किया जा सकता है. And Brandenburg versus Ohio was the case which led in कि now there is a requirement कि violence should be the one. अगर आपकी speech violence cause करती है तो ही वो seditious कहलाई जा सकती है. ठीक है, so these are the 3 landmark cases which are important from your perspective of the examination. ठीक है, then we move on to Cyclone Asani. There is report about Cyclone Asani which is now shifting towards away from the coast of Odisha. It may make a landfall in West Bengal. So as of now, the name of the cyclone again is the only thing that matters to us. उसने लैंडफॉल नहीं की है, इट मे बिकम स्लोअर देन द सिवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म, it may become just a cyclonic storm, so that is something we have to wait for. Okay, then we move on other national news, nothing of note for us. Yesterday was Rabindranath Tagore's 161st birth anniversary. Okay, and in that regard there were celebrations about it, and he's also the founder of the institution of Shanti Niketan. वो बात हमें note करनी चाहिए. All right, then we move on. More political news, not important for us. Then we come to the editorial section. All right, so the main editorial first on the left hand side, alarm bells. Sikh separatism is now feeble but vigilance is essential. भारत के अंदर the demand for a separate Sikh state, which is Khalistan, led to lot of violence in Punjab in 1990s and early 2000. Now the movement is very little. It has a lot of there are international organizations on that regard, but in India that will be known as secession, and that is not something that is valid. But there was news कि हिमाचल प्रदेश की असेंबली के बाहर in Dharamshala there were flags and symbols of Khalistan that were put up. ठीक है? So in this regard, the question for us, the editorial is saying that, see, whatever be the scenario of politics in the country, at no point of time can we allow violent and secession to rise in the country. We need to remain vigilant. Governments also need to avoid stoking divisions between societies to keep a united front against all of this. Okay, so nothing of note for us in this regard. Then we come to the second one, the relentless war. Okay, so yesterday, that is May 9, is celebrated as Victory Day by the Soviet Union over Nazi Germany of the Second World War. In that regard, there were speeches given by Vladimir Putin and across the Europe. The main highlight that the editorial is saying is that the countries should now avoid the war scenario and work towards a peace mission. Okay, that they should ensure that there is durable peace in the country. They should work away from stoking more and more violence. इसी के ऊपर this editorial is not that important for us. There is nothing of note except कि बातचीत करनी चाहिए. There should no one be trying to stoke more violence. There should be special peace missions, all of that. Nothing of note particularly. Okay, then your questions. Your question about Article 152, yes, 152 is about absolute justice, and if you are referring to article number 152, then that is not relevant for us at this moment. 152 is not relevant in perspective of what we are discussing. Okay, obviously all articles of the Indian Constitution can be, they are in force. मतलब जैसे ही Constitution in force आया 1950 से, तब से सारे articles in force है. Okay, except for DPSPs and fundamental duties. All right, so I hope that answers your question. Now we come powering up the power crisis shock. So this is a policy editorial. It is saying कि भारत के power plants को demand और supply के projections रखने चाहिए. They should have projected growth and supply arrangements in terms कि this is the amount of demand we may have, this is the amount of supply that we may have to cover up for shortages of coal. Okay, that is the only scenario in that regard. Okay, इसके अलावा इसमें कुछ काम का नहीं है हमारे लिए. Then we move on to the second one, a dissonance in India-Germany ties. Dissonance means disagreement. Okay, कि क्या the Prime Minister's visit to Germany change the perception of India's stand on Ukraine-Russia war? What is the scenario? How much have we been able to improve our scenario with Germany? That is all that this is talking about. It's again a policy article कि इंडिया की जर्मनी के साथ, यूरोप के साथ क्या पॉलिसी है. The Prime Minister talked about immediate cessation of violence between Russia and Ukraine. He also talked about growth of ties between European Union beyond the risk of Russia. So those were the things that this is talking about. There is obviously a lot of chance for India to improve its ties with European Union. There is a free trade agreement that has not yet happened. Okay, but the only thing that we need to note down is about this. Okay, 6th India Germany intergovernmental consultations, a biennial format which India conducts with Germany. Okay, कि हर 2 साल के अंदर हम जर्मनी के साथ, उनकी सरकार के साथ वार्तालाप करते हैं. एंड this is about our long standing commercial ties with Germany, an important pillar of strategic partnership. Strategic partnership is that, देखो अब हम दोस्त हैं but अब हम important दोस्त हैं. That's the way of countries telling each other that see, we are important friends of each other from now onwards. That is what this is talking about. Okay, then we move on to why the COVID-19 numbers matter. This is about the total number of dead who have died because of COVID-19. WHO has predicted that almost 500 million people died because of COVID-19. Government of India has reported that close to 5 lakh people have died. So the discrepancy, there has been a lot of tussle about the way the data has been arrived at, all of that. But this editorial is saying कि देखो, कुछ भी नंबर हो हमें उससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है, हमें एग्जैक्ट नंबर ज़रूर पता होना चाहिए ताकि हम अपनी पब्लिक पॉलिसी की पॉलिसीज़ बना पाएँ. ओके, दैट्स ऑल. योर क्वेश्चन कि श्रीलंका की इमरजेंसी के लिए आर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आर्टिकल्स कैन नॉट बी अप्लाइड. वो उनके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में वो अपना करेंगे. हमारा the only article that is relevant for us is the directive principle where we have to uphold international peace. Okay, article number 45, international peace के लिए भारत को काम करना चाहिए. That's the only relevance thing. श्रीलंका की इमरजेंसी के लिए हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के आर्टिकल्स नहीं अप्लाई हो सकते. Okay, then on the right hand side, so this is something you can totally skip. Then on the right hand side, the importance of immigrants for India to increase remittances contribution to GDP. It doesn't need more worker but skilling and better management. Another policy article. अब immigrants क्या होते हैं? Immigrants वो लोग होते हैं जो किसी और देश में जाके काम कर रहे होते हैं. Indians who are working in other countries are immigrants of India. They have moved away from India, NRIs. ठीक है? They are working for betterment of their economy, but they also send money back to their homes. What is that known as? Remittances. जब मान लेते हैं आप इंडिया से बाहर जाके काम करते हो और आप अपने पेरेंट्स को या अपने फैमिली मेम्बर्स को पैसा भेजते हो, तो देन दैट इज़ नोन एज रेमिटेंसेस. सो व्हाट इज़ द इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ रेमिटेंसेस? इंडिया के लिए द रेमिटेंसेस आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वी आर द कंट्री विद द हाइएस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ रेमिटेंसेस रिसीव. सो देर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड फॉर अस. हमारे वर्कर्स को बाहर जॉब मिलना इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर आवर इकोनॉमी ऑल्सो. द आर्टिकल इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट कि हमारे लिए वी शुड वर्क टूवर्ड्स providing upskilling, better resources, better training to the workers who are going, so that it in long term improves our economy also. Another policy article, you only need to be aware of the concepts. Okay, and the ranking of India. So India has the highest number of remittances. Remittances transferred to India are estimated 87 billion, which is the highest in the world. The next is China, उसके बाद Mexico, Philippines and Egypt. So we have the highest percentage of remittances received. Then we move on to text and context. This news is about algorithms. Can algorithms influence the way we see? So आप जिस वेबसाइट पे जाते हो वहाँ पे कुकीज़ होती हैं, वो आपका डेटा ट्रैक करती हैं, उसी हिसाब से आपको टारगेटेड एड्स दिए जाते हैं. दैट इज़ व्हाट दिस एडिटोरियल इज़ अबाउट. क्या एल्गोरिथम्स को ओपन होना चाहिए, क्या आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपका क्या डेटा स्टोर किया है. ऑब्वियसली आप अपने ब्राउज़र की सेटिंग्स में जाके देख भी सकते हो कि क्या क्या कुकीज़ आपके लिए स्टोर किए गए हैं. दैट्स ऑल दैट मैटर्स. ओके, देन द स्टैंडर्ड मॉडल ऑफ पार्टिकल फिजिक्स गेट्स अ जोल्ट. This is about new discovery that has been made about the W boson mass, that the basic mass of particles in atmosphere. उसके बारे में there have been more updates about the precise measurement of the W boson particle. ठीक है, who have done it? Collider detector at Fermilab collaboration, which is the US. Okay, they have announced that they have found the precise measurement of the W boson particle. That's all that we need to note. Then we move on. Ruskin Bond, I'm sure a lot of you must have read books about Ruskin Bond. He's an author of India, very famous. Then we come to the other national news. All right, so in that term, China's intent is to keep boundary issue alive. This is our army chief, that is General Manoj Pandey, after taking charge, taking that. See, China does not really want to resolve the boundary dispute, which is the LAC, Patrolling Point 15, Depsang and Demcho. Those are the three areas जहाँ पे अभी तक resolution नहीं हुआ है. Okay, then we come to other news about updates. Nothing of note for us there. Then कल हमने note किया था about two new judges of Supreme Court, that is Sudhanshu Dhulia and Jamshed Pardiwala. Jamshed Pardiwala will become a Chief Justice of India in future. He is also the 6th judge of its community. All right, and Justice Dhulia, who is from Uttarakhand, he is the second judge to be elevated from the Uttarakhand High Court. इससे पहले only one judge from Uttarakhand has been elevated to the Supreme Court. All right, then we move on to Russian envoy gives special message. This is nothing of note for us. Okay, then we come to international news. So in international news, the only thing that we need to note down is that updates from Philippines. Okay, Philippines is having its elections, and Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is the son of a former dictator of Philippines, that is Ferdinand Marcos, he is leading the polls, and at the moment of recording and going live at this video, he has been announced that he is set to secure absolute majority in the presidential elections. He has defeated his liberal competitor, that is Leni Robredo, in the elections. Okay, and he is set to become the first Philippine with absolute majority since his father. So the last time there was a absolute majority was his father, and now it is Ferdinand Marcos Jr., okay, who is set to become the new president of Philippines. Okay, he will be taking over from President Duterte, who has been in power for more than 10 years in Philippines. Okay, then we move on. There were Victory Day celebrations in Russia against this victory, which marks their victory over Nazi Germany. Vladimir Putin gave a speech where he stated that Russia is defending its motherland against those who want to take land away from Moscow. So this is about the politics there. For us, the Ukraine-Russia conflict is still very, very important. उसके बारे में we have spoken about at multiple point of time. Then we have news from here, okay, which is this small news here. Iran confirms Qatar's Amir will be visiting Tehran. Okay, this is once again puts in question the JCPOA, okay, which is the 2015 nuclear deal, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. The JCPOA is about sanctions against Iran, जिसके revocation के लिए Qatar's Amir, that is Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, he will be visiting Iran. Okay, Qatar and Iran are not very close friends, but yet he will be going there to visit to elevate the sanctions against Iran under JCPOA. Alright, so once again the JCPOA is very, very important. The name of the Qatar Amir, the thing that you have to note down. Then we move on. Government said to urge Reserve Bank to push bond yields lower. Bond yield वो होती है open market operation. जैसे कि आप बैंक अकाउंट में पैसा रखते हो तो आपको you receive a lot of interest from whatever you have kept in. So similarly, in this regard, the government also issues bonds, and RBI is the one that decides the bond yield. जितनी ज़्यादा bond yield होगी उतना ज़्यादा market के अंदर there will be demand for more government bonds. But if the government does not want to put out too much money, it will reduce the bond yields. That is what the government is set to urge RBI. That is the only thing that matters. Then LIC IPO, which is the initial public offering for disinvestment, was oversubscribed. Ab 10 तारीख को it will be revealed a couple of days later who has actually been given the first shares. This will be revealed on May 17th. 17 मई को हमें पता चलेगा who all got the shares of LIC. Then we move on. Apart from this, on the news, nothing of note. Sporting side पे again nothing of note for us. Okay, so with this we conclude our newspaper analysis. As we get closer to the examination, our focus will be on covering things that we have already done. For example, a lot of things that were in the newspaper we have already done previously. Ukraine-Russia conflict, sedition law, Sri Lanka, those are things हमने पहले भी कर रखा है, right? So इस वजह से उनको वापस से repeat करना won't make sense. The ideal way is for revision. So on that note, we will be reducing the size of our newspaper analysis ताकि जल्दी जल्दी हो सके. But before we leave everyone, once again, what all to note down? So effect plus reason Alright, so with this we conclude our analysis. Now before you all leave, I once again want to inform all of you that if you have liked the analysis, please give it a thumbs up. जाने से पहले ये बहुत important है कि अगर आपको analysis अच्छा लगा है तो आप इसको ज़रूर like करें, क्योंकि आपके like से ही हम इस content को continuously free of cost available करवा पाते हैं. So your likes mean a lot. And before we leave, so once again I want to inform all of you that Unacademy will be launching its notes from May 20. To access these notes digitally, आप Unacademy के iconic या plus subscription ले सकते हैं. But अगर आपको physical notes चाहिए तो आपको Unacademy का iconic subscription ही लेना पड़ेगा. And this should be 6 months or more. Now what is iconic? In iconic you get access to 10-minute mentorship sessions on a regular basis, plus live doubt solving, plus priority in classes. So all of this is are unique features that iconic subscribers get, and you all can also achieve and enroll in our batches, that is for target NLU batch. Lastly, you can also participate in CLAT prep classes, and on May 11 and 13, Pooja ma'am and I will be taking your GK level up sessions, wherein we will be covering a substantial portion of your general knowledge for the CLAT 2022 examination. On that note, right now we are running a discount on our prices, and we are also conducting a scholarship test for all of you on Unacademy, which will happen on May 15. So if you are someone who has not yet registered, you can use and avail a discount on our subscription using the code KUSHGK and receive a 10% discount on an additionally discounted prices. This is our scholarship test which we are conducting. This will happen on May 15 at 3 p.m. and you can achieve almost up to 50% scholarship for your Unacademy subscriptions. And we are running a discount, as I had told you. You can avail an additional discount on your prices and subscriptions by using the code KUSHGK. So अगर आप अपनी preparation को streamline करना चाहते हैं तो आप Unacademy पे subscribe कर सकते हैं. बाकी सारी updates के लिए आप हमारे Telegram channel से जुड़ सकते हैं, which is Unacademy CLAT. आपकी ALET की registrations अभी भी खुली हुई है, so अगर आपने register नहीं किया है तो please do that. And you can visit us at Unacademy store in Jaipur. बट अगर आपको सिर्फ मॉक टेस्ट की तैयारी करनी है तो आप Unacademy लाइट सब्सक्रिप्शन ले सकते हो, जहाँ पे आपको 25 मॉक टेस्ट का एक्सेस मिलता है, प्लस यू कैन ऑल्सो विन कैश प्राइजेस अप टू 1500 रुपीज़. एंड फॉर एनी अदर क्वेरी यू कैन रीच आउट टू मी एट 7825860506 और यूज द कोड KUSHGK फॉर योर एनरोलमेंट. लास्टली, link about the quiz that is at 1:10 p.m. will be shared with all of you on the Telegram channel. आप इस लिंक के थ्रू मुझे रीच आउट कर सकते हो. बाकी सारे अपडेट्स के लिए, नोट्स के लिए आप इन दोनों लिंक पे एक्सेस कर सकते हो. वी विल बी डूइंग द क्विज एज फॉर्म ऑफ अ स्पेशल क्लास विच विल हैपन एट 1:10 p.m. इस क्लास में आप मुझसे क्वेश्चंस भी पूछ सकते हो. यू कैन अवेल लेक्चर नोट्स इमीडिएटली. ऑल दीज क्लासेस आर फ्री. आप इनको मल्टीपल टाइम्स भी देख सकते हो. So make sure that you are available for the quiz at 1:10 p.m. ऑन दैट नोट, अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा है तो डू गिव इट अ थम्स अप, एंड इफ़ यू आर न्यू टू द चैनल डू सब्सक्राइब टू इट। तब तक के लिए थैंक यू सो मच। कल फिर से मुलाकात होगी एट द सेम टाइम। टेक केयर एवरीवन, बाय बाय।